Hello and happy Sunday.
Oh, not only that, happy St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, for sure. We're wearing our green today.
Exactly.
St. Patty's.
Lots to talk about today. Lots in the vlogging world.
Hi, we're Jill and Jerry, the Cruising Canucks.
Welcome to Banter on Board, our new podcast. This podcast is recorded every Sunday afternoon if you want to join us live on YouTube.
Well, good afternoon or evening, morning, wherever you are in the world watching this. Thank you for joining us today.
Yes, it is chilly here in Northern Ontario.
It is.
Starting to feel more like it should as opposed to the warm winter we've had. So I'm feeling a little cold. I got my hot tea, my new mug. What does it say on there? Maybe you should read the words.
No, I can't.
Come on.
No,
what does it say?
Can't. This was a gift from someone. Actually, Wanda and Paul gave it to him on our group cruise. It says, the man, the myth, the legend.
There you go.
Yeah, just what he needed. Something to boost his ego a little bit.
There you
more.
go. Wanda and Paul know all about me and that stuff.
There you go.
So I got a nice warm tea in here. It's not spiked or anything today.
Yeah.
We're still getting a little bit over the illness.
Yes, we are. It's been lingering.
Yep. We are 95% of the way there. Yep. Sounds like we have one of our biggest fans at the top of the stairs barking at us right now, too.
Yeah, I didn't think Bruno wanted to join us today. He was quite happy upstairs in the living room, but he hears us talking and he wants to come join us. So we'll see. I might have to do a little quick escape and get him if he barks again. Sorry, guys.
There he is.
All right. I'll be right back.
Off to get Bruno. So as Mrs. Canuck is getting Bruno, maybe I'll bring up a little bit about what we're going to talk about a little later on today after we go through saying hi to everybody. And that is a vlogger ethics. That comes on the heels of what happened with Ben and David on the MSC cruise. So a lot of people have heard about it. If you haven't, we'll probably provide a little more detail. And Bruno's back. There you go.
Spoiled boy.
He didn't want to be part of the show last week. He stayed upstairs, but this week he wanted to be back again.
Yeah.
So Ben and David basically shut down from vlogging and filming on a cruise ship and doing all that good stuff that we do on YouTube with MSC. And kind of caught our attention because we've had some issues with MSC about filming, probably the only cruise line that we've ever had issues with. And so it kind of was near and dear to us. And so we thought it'd be worthwhile to have a conversation about vlogging and kind of what we do on ships to try to remain what we call ethical or respectful of other people and passengers. And a little bit about some of the guidelines. There are actually some rules in the media as far as what we can do on YouTube, can't do on YouTube, and talk about that. Take your questions and maybe kick around all this stuff and see what you think about vloggers filming you on a cruise ship if you don't know about it. How does that feel, right? There's all those pieces and nuances. So heavy stuff. Oh, Bruno's touching me now. Thanks, Bru. And trivia. Ooh. So this relates to travel vloggers, YouTube vloggers. We'll see. We got a multiple choice for you. And so according to a site called Social Blade, they kind of track a lot of the YouTube channels and rate them and everything else.
Okay.
I looked it up today. They have certain channels categorized in certain different categories. And one of them is travel, which is in the cruise space that we're in. So this is our category. But how many do you think there are? If you're going to start a YouTube channel about cruise vlogging tomorrow, how many people are you running up against?
A lot.
Yeah, so is it 3,250 other channels that are doing travel vlogging? Is there 32,000 and change? Is it 325,000, or is there actually 3 million plus travel vlog YouTube channels? What's your guess?
325,000 is my guess.
325 is your guess? Let me go to the comments section and see if I can see what the guesses are coming in here.
I see 325 from Serena.
I'm seeing Serena's at 325.
Yeah.
3.2 million. Kylie is at 325.
Ooh. What's the answer? Let us know.
You're all a little bit high.
A little bit high?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So 32. I can't see the numbers.
Yep.
Sorry, they're too far away.
32,500 roughly is what Social Blade has categorized as travel YouTube channels. Now that doesn't include Instagram or other. That's just specifically YouTube travel vloggers. But yeah.
Okay.
There you go. James and Kitty Cat had it right.
There you go.
There you go. So yeah. So that's I see Lucina Gunn saying that's it. But then put 32,000 people in a building somewhere and
yeah, that's a lot of people. You're right. I guess
that's like half the city.
I thought it was more though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of people, and so that's kind of what we're in that category. We're one of the 32,500.
One of exactly.
We're just one. Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots of people. So that was the trivia for the week. And let me go back to where that was. There it was. So questions and comments of the week. The first one that came up was, where do we report the letter, or was that just for the scavenger hunt? So this was kind of some of the confusion we had from questions this week.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so where to report the letter. So for Journey of the Secret Word, you have to get the letter from every vlog, and you have to know the location of it in each vlog. So keep track of that. And then when the very last vlog of the series, so in this case, the 10th day, is released, then you'll be able to go to our website and you'll be able to hit a button and enter the information for what your guess is for the word and the location of all the letters. At that point, then we collect all those. We do the random draw on the big wheel, and somebody wins some level 8 luggage.
That's right.
So nothing to do with the scavenger hunt. The scavenger hunt was totally something we did only on the ship.
Just an activity we did on board.
Yeah. So hopefully that clarifies some of the confusion we had this week. And the next comment that came out said, keep on taking those naps, Jerry. To me, the best benefit of an inside cabin is afternoon nap time. I don't even nap at home. You chose that one.
I did choose that one because if you guys saw the vlog that came out this week, Mr. Canuck was battling with being exhausted from all the fun and activities that we were doing with the group cruise. So he may have had more naps on this cruise than he normally does.
Yep. That was James and Kimmy Cat's fault.
Oh, was it?
It's exhausting, yes.
Oh, yeah.
It was nobody's fault. It was just we were so busy and had so many people that just imagine being on a cruise ship. Where you go, you bump into someone you know and you're talking, having another drink. It's just like, yeah.
Hanging out.
It's a wonderful type of exhaustion.
Yeah, it was.
Busy.
For
I guess
sure.
it's exhausting to us because we live in such a small town with very few people that we don't talk to a lot of people on a normal day. We've only talked to each other today in person.
Well, that's not true. I might have had a few. We had a few phone
I said
conversations.
in person. I said.
Oh, in person.
Yes.
Yes.
We
Okay.
only, for days in a row, we only see each other. Yeah.
Especially me, since I've retired. I've gone from being in a school with hundreds and hundreds of people to just Bruno and I most days. It's a big difference.
And Jeff had asked, loving the videos. I'm wondering if the ship was at full capacity.
That's a great question.
We get this question almost every single vlog series, regardless of how many people are on the ship.
And so the reason why we included this one in is sort of to touch base on a part of what our topic of conversation this live is. Part of the reason why we get that question so much is that we go out of our way to try to film just us and not be filming a bunch of people that are enjoying their vacation without their permission, basically. We're very cognizant that a lot of people are on vacation and they didn't give us a sort of permission to film them, and maybe they don't want to. A lot of people do. Trust me, there's a lot of people that message us and say, oh my gosh, we were on the same ship as you and we saw ourselves in the background at the Good Spirits Bar and that was great. So that's wonderful.
You're giving it all away now, are you?
Oh, sorry. But I was just going to say, the reason why everybody asks if the ship is full is that we try not to show crowds of people.
So to answer the question exactly, and I'm not even sure what vlog this is for, almost every ship we've been on recently, except for the ones right after COVID, have almost been all full capacity.
Yeah. So it was about this ship, the Enchanted Princess.
Yeah. So yeah, we are, unfortunately, we haven't been able to find those ships that aren't at full capacity, and they don't really exist anymore.
No, I think they're selling out everywhere.
Like we just kind of casually looked and thought, oh, what are we doing on Easter? We have 4 days. What if we can squeeze in a 4-day cruise? That was our thinking. But believe it or not, just the logistic of doing that is a challenge for us coming from Canada. But the other logistic is when we looked at all the cruises available for, say, 2 weeks from now, almost every single cruise is sold out. You can't get a last minute deal anymore. Yeah. You'd have to go into like May before you can find one that's not like sold out. There's a couple balconies or expensive cruises that are available. But your average cruise where you book an interior or affordable cabin, none are available. Yeah. So that's how busy the cruise industry is right now. Yeah. So despite the fact that a lot of times our videos, it doesn't look like we're at full capacity, almost all of them have been. So, but yeah, there's some good reasons as to why it looks that way, though.
That's right.
So I guess that's the next topic is vlogger ethics. I should check the comment section real fast before we go on to this topic, because then everybody can ask questions. I do see that Kelly's talking about how she's got on the Regal Princess British Isles cruise in September. There we go.
Nice.
And Peggy's also just joined us.
Welcome.
Back from her cruise late last night. What cruise is Peggy on? Do you remember?
Oh, not off the top of my head.
I remember seeing it. Yeah, I remember seeing. Yeah, but yep. So, anyways, we'll make comments, put questions if you have about the cruise vlogger thing, and we'll try to talk through it here, and we'll get back to everybody in a second with all the questions. So yeah, as Mrs. Canuck alluded to, from the very beginnings of us vlogging, we we really didn't want to film other people. We kind of went off to the side. We stood in a quiet little corner of a room or our lounge that's not being used. We would sometimes even wait till after dinner, so we didn't film anybody in the dining room. Like, we kind of went out of our way to not film people.
Right.
And we were doing that to be respectful. Also, we were a little unsure of what the policy is on filming other people. When we first started, we kind of weren't quite sure of how that works. And that itself is a little bit of a squishy issue, as Ben and David found out, that if you're on private property, which technically is a cruise ship is private property, whoever owns that private property has the right to make whatever rules they want.
Right.
So if they want to make rules saying you can't vlog, that's at their discretion. That isn't in place as far as we know. The only restrictions on cruise ships, as far as I know, for filming is if you're going to do a bigger production, you're going to show up with like lights and a crew and professional cameras and try to film something without their permission, they can shut that down. That you need kind of permits and permission to do that. Mm-hmm. But someone carrying around a smartphone or a little tiny camera, that's where, most people have never had a problem.
Right. The only other sort of big standout is that the majority of cruise lines, not all of them, we've been on some where it hasn't been an issue, but a lot of them will tell you that they don't want you to film their production shows. So they're sort of copyright material and they don't want those aired. We've been on a few, I believe it was Morella that told us we could film, but there are some, the majority of them don't want you to film in the theater. So you'll see us just sort of showing you the 2 seconds of the final note of a song at the end of the show. That's about all we can film.
Mm-hmm. And also usually can't film the comedy shows is another thing you can't film. A lot of them get really, very touchy about trying to film if you're anywhere near the security when you're coming on and off the ship.
That's true.
Several times they've stopped me from filming.
They see a camera in our hand, they'll say, is that on? Is that on? Yep. Because they won't let you film that.
Yeah. But as far as the ethics of filming other people, did do a little bit of a dive onto that. But the understanding is that if you're in a public space anywhere, then there is no expectation of privacy, technically meaning vloggers can film you, but there is some gray areas there that if, for example, children is one for us. Mm-hmm. With children in the background, it becomes a little more complicated because if there is a possibility the parents there's a requirement even from YouTube that we would have to have like written consent from parents to show children that aren't our own children. Mm-hmm. So if we see children anywhere around us with the cameras are turned off or put down immediately. Even if they show up in the background by mistake, we don't use those scenes. We don't show other people's children. That's right. And we even had a situation where we were filming and someone's children came through I think we were by the elevator banks on one of the ships. And we stopped filming and the parents realized that what we were doing, we stopped filming because the children that came through and they said to us, oh, it's okay. You're doing a vlog. We don't mind if our children show up on the vlog. And I said, well, for us, it becomes an issue. And so, because legally we're supposed to have written permission from them. Now they gave us oral permission right there, but we weren't going through that. So, we just refilmed once that family left. Yeah, so there is those pieces there. And also there's some areas on the ship that are really tough to film without people in the background. A lot of the times the theater is a very difficult spot to do that in, where people are sitting up and behind you.
Because you're so close in a theater situation.
So a lot of times we'll either blur people out in the background or we won't film at all, or we'll get to the theater really early where there's nobody behind us.
Yes, that's half the reason why we get there so early, is so that we can do a 30-second clip of what we're about to do and tell you guys in the camera. But that means that there's generally empty seats around us and we can do it.
And a lot of times, unless we have a really private table, that's the reason you'll see the food on the table in front of us, but you're not going to see us very often, our faces, because we don't want to show people in the background of the dining room as well. Mm-hmm. We're giving all our secrets away. Yeah. So all those things combined are kind of why you don't see a lot of people in our vlogs, or it seems like the ship's not busy, because we're deliberately avoiding filming people. It isn't that there aren't lots of people around.
Right.
But that's brought its own complication that we're finding out from people now. Mm-hmm. That some people have gone on cruises after they've watched our videos and they said, our cruise was much busier than yours. And that's only because we didn't film the busyness. But most of the cruises we've been on have been really busy in one way or another. We just didn't film the busyness. That creates another ethical dilemma for us, because we're trying to give you all the best information for what it's really like on a cruise ship every day. Yeah. Well, meanwhile, we're avoiding crowds. So you don't get to see the crowds as much as we see them in real life. Yeah. So we're trying to work on that. I think you'll start to see through the tail end of the group cruise and definitely on MSC that there's more filming of masses of people collected. We try not to film where people's faces are right in the camera, more of the kind of the back of people walking towards something.
Like overlooking the piazza with the dance floor full of people and we're up a deck or two above, stuff like that. We're trying to give you the idea that there are people on this ship with us. Yeah. But we still have to be respectful of people's privacy.
Yeah. So if you're watching our vlogs and it says, wow, I want to be on that ship because nobody is there. Yeah. It's just because we filmed it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we didn't film it to try to make it look like there was nobody on the ship. We filmed it because we didn't want to have anybody behind us that didn't give their permission to be part of our vlog.
Yeah. With the exception of that would be the new Sundom vlog that we've released and the Rotterdam vlog. When we released the new Sundom vlog, they were sailing at 50% capacity. So yes, there weren't crowds and there was a lot of space. Rotterdam was at 75% capacity. But every other cruise ship that we've released vlogs for, they've been, if not at 100%, close to it.
Yeah. And there's some spots that obviously you can't film people without their permission, them in their cabins by themselves. So we can't walk up to an ocean view window and film in to see what someone's doing in their cabin.
Can you imagine?
I can't walk into the washroom and film if people are in there. I have walked into the washroom and filmed, but
oh my God,
only after I checked
it.
to make sure nobody was in there, that type of thing. So
Crazy.
there are some areas where there's an expectation of privacy, so we definitely don't cross those lines for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it makes it a challenge sometimes to vlog, and maybe part of the reason we don't like being on ships with tons of people. And we try to gravitate towards quieter ships is we know it's easier for us to film and get some footage for you. Is because otherwise we're spending a lot of time trying to find the quiet spots, and it could be hard.
Yes.
Especially some cruise lines. One specifically that we don't cruise anymore. There's always speakers blaring music around the ship. That's another problem too, is then you can't hear us talking because there's copyright music coming everywhere that we can't have in our vlogs. Copyright music becomes a whole nother issue in vlogging as far as trying to make that work as well. So
yeah, absolutely.
So there are a lot of pitfalls in there and a lot of ethical things as far as copyright music, children, filming other people without their permission. Luckily, we, to the best of our knowledge, at least through all the official channels, we've never had anybody come to us and be upset about us filming them. Hopefully that means we've shown the amount of respect that's appropriate.
Yeah, if anything, we've had comments from people that have watched the vlogs that they, like I said earlier, have cruised with us and they thought it was great that they saw themselves in the back of our vlog when we were on the dance floor or somewhere else or whatever. So yeah.
Yep. And we also don't want to film people, on a cruise ship, especially drink packages stuff. Some people are having a good time. They might be behaving in a way that maybe isn't typical or sometimes appropriate. And there's a whole bunch of factors there that we just don't want to get into filming that. So like a lot of times you're not seeing us a lot of stuff on the dance floor with other people or groups of people that are around bars. Like, yeah, it's just kind of, I think, just making a smart, ethical decision.
We just try to be respectful of people's privacy. That's all it is.
Exactly. Yeah. So kind of bringing that full circle back around to Ben and David and MSC though, this all ties into that. So Ben and David, they were told to stop, and originally they were told to stop because they didn't have permission to film.
Right.
It was the first reason given. So this has kind of played out a little bit in the last few days. Then the official reason after that was that somebody in the yacht club, so Ben and David were in a ship inside a ship type of area of MSC, and that MSC says that they had a complaint that somebody did not want to be filmed and shown on someone else's social media. So that was the second reason that MSC gave Ben and David. And that's all come full circle since. And Ben and David now have had an apology from MSC. They're working with them to figure out how this works for content creators on their ships versus the rights of passengers. So that's all now being hashed out in the background. So it's kind of interesting. But for us, it was really interesting because we tried to get the yacht club as part of our filming schedule. We were on MSC the first time.
Yeah. So the little backstory, before we ever went on an MSC, we did like most of you guys do. We went on YouTube and we watched some fellow vloggers vlog their experiences. And so some of our favorite vloggers were on an MSC ship and they were given a pass to go to the yacht club area. And actually they were allowed to spend the day there, hang out there, have lunch, have drinks, film their experience. So when we were going on our MSC Seaside, we emailed the company and reached out and didn't hear anything back from them. And so when we were on board, we went to guest services and explained our situation, gave them our card, told them what we were doing, asked if we would be allowed to go and film the yacht club so that you guys could see it and that we could see it too firsthand. Anyways, we got a phone call into our cabin because they said they had to check with the yacht club manager. We had a phone call in our cabin a little bit later and said, come on down at 4 o'clock. We'll bring you in for a tour, but leave your camera in your cabin. And we were like, what? But the whole point, the reason why we wanted to do it was to film it. And they said, oh no, you're not allowed to film it, but you can go and see it and then you can talk about it. That's what we were told.
And then to show us the seriousness of how they were really not wanting us to film it, we arrived and we had to go into the secret yacht club area and get past the first barrier. And there's like a maitre d', there's a host kind of at the entrance. And the host says to us that I've been told by my management staff that I am to frisk you to see if you have any cell phones or any equipment that you could record.
You need to check any equipment that they wanted me to make sure that you held on to it, or I held on to any equipment that you have that could be. So if you have an iPhone or anything like that, they wanted me to take it. And he said, I saw as you came in, you took a picture of the doorway with your iPhone. That's fine. And as long as you promise me not to use it the rest of the time, I'll let you hold on to your phone.
Yeah. So at that point, we knew there was a real serious issue in the background with MSC about pictures, vlogging, yacht club. And we were very confused because we'd seen other people do it without a problem. But we kind of thought nothing of it. And then we, of course, saw what Ben and David went through, and that kind of piqued our, we know where that's coming from.
Okay, we've been there.
We've kind of, a little bit, we've had an experience like that. And the other thing was on this last MSC cruise, while filming in the buffet twice. I was in the buffet filming with the camera.
Filming the food.
Not just filming the food, though. Filming some of the frustration with how they didn't have the buffet open, and they had these long curtains that were pulled down. And I was kind of going around with the camera trying to peer inside to show that there was food behind the curtains and saying, why won't they open the curtains? The food's right there getting cold. Let us have some food. At the same time, an officer is walking by, and I can see me what I'm doing and probably hear what I'm saying. And I kind of got bumped into, like, in a pretty firm way.
Shoulder shove.
I thought nothing of it. I thought mistakes happen. He's just probably trying to get sorry. He's doing his job, whatever. I really thought nothing of it the first time. When I was doing the exact same thing a day or two later, showing that the buffet was still a bit of a mess and we were trying to get some food, I got bumped into her a second time doing the same thing. I started thinking, maybe that wasn't a mistake the first time or the second time. But neither time did an officer stop and say anything to me. So I'm still willing to say that maybe both times it was coincidences I got bumped into, but it was odd that I have my camera there. And usually if you've got a camera and you're doing something, people avoid you. They don't want to disturb your shot or your equipment.
Right.
I didn't get that type of treatment. It was no problem bumping into me. So maybe coincidence. So I'm not going to make too much out of it. We didn't make much out of it in the video. You'll see. I don't know if we even barely mentioned it in the video.
No, I can't remember.
But so there's some funny stuff with MSC that we've never experienced on any other cruise line as we're doing the vlogging thing.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. So there's a few comments coming in. Should I jump on those?
Sure.
And Ruth is saying that she is happy that we make cruising look so exciting. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
And that was my ethical dilemma when people started saying to me, oh, it's way busier on a cruise than what you show in your videos. I felt bad. I'm like, I didn't want them to go on something and not get the experience they were looking for.
Right.
So,
the whole reason why we started vlogging was we love cruising and we wanted to share that joy. And we would come back from vacations and friends and coworkers that had never cruised before would be like trying to get us to explain what cruising was like. And they couldn't really compare it to other things. And so we thought, you know what, there's a whole lot of people out there that have never been on a cruise ship, because a lot of people have misconceptions about cruise ships. And they think, oh, I'm going to be seasick if I get on it. All those sort of things that we all think about when we've never experienced a cruise ship. We thought, you know what, we should show people how elegant it can be and how fun it can be and, you know, how safe it can be, all those things. So that's what we strive to do. For sure.
So Kelly Rome is saying she was a little nervous about being filmed, but said we were respectful to everybody. But she hasn't seen the footage yet.
Laughing.
So, and I guess to that point, when we went on the group cruise, one thing we did leading up in the month ahead of the group cruise, when we know we had our final group that were on Facebook and paying attention to everything, we basically said, hey, here's the situations where you're going to see cameras. Here's the situations that you'll be able to recognize that we're about to start filming and where we're filming and what to look for, kind of to try to educate them a little bit. But also said, if you don't want to be filmed, let us know. And we will respect that. We'll make sure that we don't have you in the background if we can. We'll just make sure that that doesn't happen.
Right.
We don't really ever go up to somebody face to face and film them right there. Usually it's just them around us doing stuff. So we kind of painted the picture, and luckily everybody on the group said, yeah, no problem. You know, we don't mind if we show up. So
a few people might have been shy the first time that they saw that Jerry had the camera going, but that's normal. I definitely was a lot shyer the first time Jerry threw the camera on me than I am now.
So. And to Kelly's last point, as much as it's funny to say, oh yeah, we've got some good stuff on you.
Yeah,
we know firsthand what it looks like to have embarrassing content about yourselves on the internet. So we certainly wouldn't let anyone else show up in our videos that we think is like not appropriate.
There's no way we would.
So
absolutely.
So
I preview every video before it airs just to make sure that the bathing suit coverage is not too bad. All those awful things that you worry about as a woman.
She cuts all the good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, Cynthia's saying, take us off all of your videos. Actually, they said they loved that they were included and it made it more real.
Oh, that's great.
And we always have people, I'd say at least once every week or two, we'll just kind of get a random email or message from someone saying, hey, I was in Rome the same time as you, and I just realized it. I watched the video and I saw our family boarding. It was so amazing to have to recreate that day in your videos and watch how it played out.
Yeah.
So that kind of makes us happy when we see that people don't mind showing up and they're actually looking for themselves and excited to see. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's the good news story of that type of situation.
Yeah.
And Kylie wants to know if it's an MSC thing or general cruise line thing.
We haven't had any other issues with other cruise lines. Now, what we do, and this is what most vloggers do too, is when we've booked a cruise and the months leading up to it, a few weeks or months leading up to it, we will email the cruise line and tell them that we are coming and that we will be filming and what we do. And we also put a link to our YouTube page so that they can check it out themselves. And then, that sort of lets them know we're coming. And if there's an issue at that point, we expect that they would respond and say, oh, you're not allowed to film or whatever. But mostly we have the opposite. We've had cruise lines that have had welcome aboard gifts in our cabin when they found out we were coming, or, just crew waving and smiling and asking if they can be put on the vlog, stuff like that. So it's always been really positive.
For sure. Twyla saying that Pero DJ were on the last cruise that she was on. They're very lovely and very tall.
They are very tall. Yes, I would love to meet them myself, Twyla. That's cool. Wow.
Yep. Hopefully we're very lovely, but we're a little shorter.
Yes, we are.
In fact,
yes. I was just going to say, one person said to me on our group cruise that I was shorter than they thought.
Shorter than expected, yes.
They thought I was taller. So there you go.
Yeah. Mrs. Canuck was shorter than expected on a group cruise. I was shyer than expected.
Yeah, there you go.
That was the comment.
And that's his true personality. So there you
go. No. Esther's just turning in now. She got to replay.
To replay.
So one other thing that comes up too when you talk about ethics is there are actually, when we're posting content and cruise lines are, say, giving us something free, or if there's some brand that's given us something like level 8 with the luggage, then there is actually a legal requirement there. There you're getting into actual rules from the FTC that says, here's what you must do.
Right.
And this is where it gets really dicey in the vlogger space, because a lot of people do a really good job and some vloggers don't do it at all. And they're the ones that are at risk of being fined or caught by the FTC doing that. Yeah. We looked the other day, we were watching friends of ours, Paul and Carol are in Japan right now, and they're posting straight out that, advertisement that here's the situation that we were invited to be on this, and here's full disclosure. Yeah,
so they've been gifted to go on a tour right now, and they're on a tour, and at the beginning of every post they write the word ad.
Yep. Which is the requirement from the FTC, is that should be the first word that shows up if you're being paid to be any part of that. So people know that you're not just going on as a person and showing your honest opinion, that there's a little bit of cooperation between you and the cruise line.
Yeah. And so for every cruise that Jerry and I have gone on, we have paid full price, whatever price you're paying. We've never had a discounted price on our cruises because we're vlogging, nothing like that. We have had things gifted to us from the cruise line. For instance, when we were on, the conning stamp, they gave us some specialty dining. And so when we posted pictures on that, we did post that was a gift to us and that was a hosted event with them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's very interesting to us. I guess because we're in the vlogger space, that we'll see a ship and a whole bunch of vloggers are on it, and we'll just kind of look through to see all the vloggers and see who's actually disclosed that they're, if there's an affiliation here or not. And it's interesting to see the ones that do and ones that don't.
Yeah, for sure.
Some don't, and that's kind of a dangerous thing. We always try to fully disclose because we want you to know when we're saying something because we paid for it, we're experiencing like you do, and here's our honest opinion, versus, well, we were given this for free, but we still give an honest opinion, but we want you to know that we did get it for free.
And did we still the reason why I brought up that when we were on Conningstam, they sent us to the seafood restaurant, and most of you that follow all our channels know that Jerry does not like seafood, but I love it. And so for me, it was the best specialty restaurant dining I'd ever had. And one of the questions that one of our followers asked me was, Jill, I know that you were sent there for free. Would you pay for it? Was it worth it to pay for it, in your opinion? And so that's, absolutely, that's why we advertised that it was a gift from them, so that we could answer that question honestly. I would have paid for it for sure. Would you have? Because you don't like seafood.
Yeah,
He probably just went because it was gifted to us, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, we always have those ethical debates amongst ourselves when we're getting gifted stuff. Was this really good because we didn't pay for it and it was a nice surprise, or was it really good even if we would have paid for it, right?
Right.
So we always have that debate, and we're always trying to be as honest as we can because of that, and also try to disclose that, full straight out where our situation is when we're talking.
That's right.
So that's supposed to be what everybody's supposed to do. So if you're listening to a vlogger that's been paid to say that versus one that's just experienced it and had a good time,
right,
or bad time, in better David case. So we'll go back and see if there's any more questions. We're getting close to the end here.
Good.
Oh yeah, no more questions. Kelly's making happy faces. I'll throw on the screen.
There was a question earlier
Oh, did I
that
miss one?
you missed over when we were there. That
I
was
see Shelly is here. Cheeseman, I see as well.
Asking whether either one of us, when we were talking about the group cruise coming up, asked one of the questions from a follower was if either one of us is a travel agent.
Oh.
I can't find it right now.
I did see that one too.
But the answer is yes, Jerry is a travel agent. And so that's how we're going to be able to book our group cruise, because he is a licensed travel agent.
Yep.
We don't really advertise that. We don't, because it's something that we've only ever sort of done for friends and family and special events like this will be.
Exactly. Yeah. I dove into becoming a travel agent right in the middle to end of 2019.
It was great timing.
We all know what happened in 2020 with the travel industry, and that was my introduction to being a travel agent.
He spent the first 6 months of being a travel agent booking trips, and then the next 6 months canceling
trips. Yes.
So he knows how to cancel them. Yeah.
So we're gonna leverage that ability to help them take complete control of the group cruise and make sure that we get the experience for everybody that we want. Holland America is going to be able to work directly with us. It's all going to work out much better than how we did the Princess cruise. As much as we had a great time with Princess, this is going to be that much fun, and then more so because it's going to feel like
be a little more extra perks thrown in.
I feel like Holland America is going to be inviting us and all of you on board, which is really exciting. So I think we're getting. I see a new comment just popped up somewhere at the bottom there. Oh, and group cruise confirmed, dear agent.
It's almost confirmed. Kelly joined in a little bit late. It will be a Holland America, and we're just waiting for the final details on an email that should be coming back this beginning of this week so that we can announce everything.
And the reason we're not giving you dates or anything else is because we actually are waiting for them to confirm that we have the space, because we are looking at probably blocking over 100 spaces for people. So we want to make sure there's lots of capacity. So we're thinking we're going to have at least for as many people we did last time in the group cruise, possibly more. And that's been under Holland America's recommendation based on what they're seeing from our channel and talking to us. So they think there's probably going to be more than we had before. And so we're making sure that there's we want to make sure that everybody wants to come and get a room or a stateroom. So we want to definitely make sure that's available. And then when we know that for sure, we'll have the ship, we'll have the date, and then we're going to have the dates and the details as far as being able to book. And maybe we'll see next week on the live, we might have that information. So
we're hoping it'll all be organized by then.
Yes. So, but I think that's the last comment, and that should be the last question. Yep. So we'll leave it there and join us next week, because it might be all about the group cruise. I'm not sure. Holland America is even offered, and we'll see if this plays out. The timing, we'll see. But they were even suggesting that, if we have a captive audience like we do here in the live that might be joining the group cruise, they might be willing to send someone to actually speak to all of us during the live to talk about the group cruise as well. So that's service right there. So we'll see if that gets lined up or not. But either way, hopefully we have more information. And if it goes the way we expect, we'll have definitely a lot more information about the group cruise next weekend.
Yes.
So
please, guys, hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't. And thank you for watching, and have a wonderful week.
And we'll talk to you next Sunday.
We will.
Have a good week, everybody.